While he's doing that, I'm just gonna go ahead and say hello and welcome to
We started already.
Oh shit! Our podcast, Obnoxious. The beginning was super obnoxious. And you always on your phone is obnoxious. I shut mine off. I turned my ringers off. All three of my phones. The only reason I have three phones is one work phone, one personal phone, and one so I can listen to music while I'm driving. What's your excuse while you're on the phone?
I am looking up a graphic for you, so I know when I ask you.
Well, this is our podcast, and Like's school teacher went back to school.
Went back to school.
What was that like? The coronavirus is just killing us all. What was that like going back to school? Parents had to be happy.
Yeah, I think it was a bunch of mixed emotions on both sides, for real. Hey, only thing I can say is being on the other side, you should most definitely be thankful for life and appreciate life every day, every moment. Make it a good moment. If you're not, something's wrong. Something's wrong.
That needs to be our new presidency. Our next presidency. All right, when you're running for office, you cannot say nothing negative about the other person. You could only say positive things about you. And what you want to do for the country.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome if the world works like that.
Well, I mean, it could. What if nobody voted?
Most definitely should work that we all say something positive and not anything negative. So, this is a special podcast today because we're here to talk about an event that took place that I didn't get to witness physically, but man, was it inspirational. Like, knowing this guy, we just came up on our friend anniversary. Let's go!
It was great. It was a moment.
Crazy.
It was a good moment.
It was crazy, and it's so surreal. Like how much we take for granted of the things and memories that you make within a year, because I feel like I have known this dude my whole entire life. Like, I mean, we have made some great, monumental, once in a lifetime memories. And it was some of the happiest moments of my life, going through one of the toughest years that I ever faced. And that means, like, with the world shutting down from, you know, isolation of masks and social distancing, I feel like I gained a
coach. I'm glad I was there for you on that. When your coach went.
Best friend, coach, you know, passed away. You know, that was really tough, and he was there. I mean, we celebrated through the whole football season. I had never watched that many football games ever in my life.
You're welcome. At least we didn't have to watch the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Huh, Mr. John Moody?
Dr. Fingers.
Michael, we have the Bills fan.
Yeah.
I'm a Packer fan. Michael Townsend, the guy that keeps us going, is the Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Right.
And then the Chicago Bears fan, which, ironically enough, that's four pretty ironic football teams.
Right.
You have the light just went out. I don't know if that made a difference.
It's raw.
It is uncut.
It is uncut. But it's still out.
So we have the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
4 Super Bowls in a row without a victory.
Right.
Jim Kelly, one of the greatest quarterbacks. I loved watching him play. Amazing. And then you have the Chicago Bears winning one of the most talked about Super Bowls in the history of the NFL.
Right.
You know, they made movies about it. They made songs about it.
Right.
I mean, they changed the whole fashion. I'm not even so sure if Jim McMahon didn't pull the sweatband and Mr. Showtime. I don't even know if Des Bryant would have even been Showtime. I think he played off like Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Those boys were William Perry, refrigerator, scoring a touchdown. I think he's still the biggest guy to score a touchdown, John. Is that true?
I don't know.
Like 320 pounds.
Yeah.
Scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
crazy.
Yeah, and then you have the Eagles. I mean, obviously the Papali movie.
Yeah.
You know, the Carson Wentz deal, and then Big Dick Nick. The biggest penis in the NFL was Nick Foles. Google it. Who has the biggest penis in the...
I am not Googling on my phone. That would be...
I'm not going to Google on my phone because my preacher dad will see and I'll get in trouble, Diezel. I'm always trying to get him in trouble.
My dad will whoop my butt.
I know, but I can never get you. I almost got you to do it this time. One of these times, I'm going to get him in trouble. I swear. But yeah, that's the true story. When we're done, you got to...
I'll Google it.
Yeah.
On your phone.
On my phone. Who has the biggest penis in the NFL in the States? Big Dick Nick.
So,
Nick Foles, the Eagles. Remember, we got the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah, you didn't talk about those.
Yeah.
I will digress.
So, I mean, I talked about all three iconic teams.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning of football.
Right.
Green Bay Packers. That's all I have to say. You don't have to say anything else. That's it. The Green Bay Packers.
Man. And they made
First of all, Lombardi.
Yes. Unfortunately, our teams did not win the Super Bowl.
Man, that damn Tom Brady.
But it was
You ever meet one of those people
great journey
that I just wish if they had a live video in Tom Brady's bathroom and he's sick off his ass, crapping on the toilet, puking in the tub, miserable, passing out.
Right.
Because he feels so bad. I would love to see that because the man has zero flaws.
Hey, he got the rings to prove it.
Man, he
threw how many interceptions that game?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. And still,
he
won the Super Bowl.
And
he's won more Super Bowls himself than any individual team, franchise.
The craziest thing about that, and I'll say this for a moment, and I'm not a big, don't judge me, I'm not a big football watcher. I'm a basketball dude.
But we're starting.
Basketball coach, but I'm getting into it. And I seen what was not a perfect game still end out good for him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like he threw one. He threw a couple. I think 3 or 4 interceptions.
In that 5.
5 interceptions.
And Green Bay Packers could not. All they had to do was score one touchdown on them. No, 4. I think it was 4 interceptions. Gosh. I know. He just never believes that. He never believes he's going to lose. He always feels like, hey, and we all should feel like that. Just like the positivity.
Right.
We should always feel like we can win, no matter what. Because the outcome will always be better, I think.
No matter how bad the adversity seems. The adversity or the trial or the circumstances.
You got to see through.
Which I'm glad that you actually bringing that up because it brings me back to my point about you. So
let's change the subject.
So when it comes to this guy right here, man, big year. Now, if you don't know, there is a shirt that is online that talks about Stack Off-Road, but this shirt is very different. It's very unique. It's with the race team. I'm gonna let him talk about it a little bit. But what I really am interested in is the graphics that's on the shirt because it actually tells your story. It gives 4 years of kind of like your journey. It has 2006, 2008, 2016, all the way to 2021. So, man, can you give us a little bit about what that shirt, the story that it encompasses, 2006.
All right, so actually, that's something I'm super proud of my life. So 2006, April 23rd, I crashed my bike, a dirt bike. Life forever to be changed. Paralyzed from the waist down. Right. Handled the hospital deal real up, and there's a there's a special coming out called Grit. That is really going to tell a lot of the story.
Okay.
But I handled it really good in the hospital, enough to where I had to see several shrinks because they thought I was suicidal. Because I was just trying to fight and get back on my feet so hard and was so positive in the hospital. They were thinking he's putting on a show to get out of the hospital, you know, and they thought I was in big trouble mentally. But that wasn't the case, and a lot of the stories in the hospital were pretty amazing. But so I'm paralyzed in the waist. I spent 40-something days in the hospital. I get out of the hospital in a wheelchair. So, yeah, what do you do? Boom, snap your fingers. It's just like, yesterday I could look at that light switch and think about turning it on and off, and it would go bloop, 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 bloop.
Right.
And then, boom, snap your fingers. I can't move my feet.
Right.
And I think I should be able to, but you never think how to move your feet.
Right.
So I'm trying to move my feet, and I'm flexing every muscle in my body until I shit my pants, trying to move my feet. Because I can't move my feet.
Right.
You know, so that was crazy. I mean, all that was just extreme. And then, man, I just kept working out. I got to thank my football coaches, wrestling coaches.
Right.
You know, all the positive influence in my life. My family, you know, they're pretty stubborn on me. So just kept going, kept working. Next thing you know, I'm on the stilts. The second picture.
2008.
Yeah. I was in a wheelchair for about 2 years. And then actually, the transformation from the wheelchair to the stilts, we were at the mall, and my niece Kaylee was in my wheelchair, and I stood up, and I'm just goofing off, holding the handles, and I start pushing her around, and I was sore the next day, and I'm like, holy shit! I didn't even know those muscles work. Now they're sore. That must have worked. So, hell, I started pushing my wheelchair with weights in the wheelchair and just started pushing it, working my legs, and we worked up to my friends. We'd go to the Cox Mill School right there, and I would just try and be pushing my little Dodge truck. We're like, hey, let's time this. Let's see how fast, because man, my legs, my front, like the muscles I had were good, because I was pretty physical before. So next thing you know, I go, and then I'm walking a little bit, and then boom, like wheelchair's gone. Right. Now I'm all stilts. Right. Boom, ripping through, and those are kind of fun, believe it or not. You know, going through the grocery store, I could haul ass with those stilts. I swear to God. And I just wanted to drive. Like that was a freedom that I could achieve. Right. You know, because the freedom of running or you know, playing, you know, sports, snowboarding. Oh God, I would love to snowboard again, but that kind of stuff is unattainable. I can't you know, do it. So driving was one of them. Right. So I wanted to drive my truck, so I got my license, and I got to where I could drive and feel comfortable with the brakes. And then I got my Jeep in 2012, bought it brand new. Okay. And then yeah, I met these crazy bastards that are at the shop every day, and they just never told me I couldn't do it. Right. So next thing you know, we're all suited up with helmets and shit, and microphones and freaking tubes going in the helmets, and safety belts, window nets, computer systems, and removable steering wheels, and all this crap. And boom, that's the last picture. We're going racing, and it was something that I think everybody's. I can't recall. I couldn't name somebody who has not mentioned this. Right. But the hand controls. Hey, let's just control the throttle. Let's put a hand control just for the throttle. Right. I'm like, man, I don't want to do it. I want to use my feet. So racing a professional off-road situation, we didn't race a stock class. We were too modified, so we raced a pretty heavily modified class, and I did it all on my own, on my feet. So so I wish Chris Magro would be here, because like that guy's crazy. Right. I mean, if you think about it, like everybody, sees me drive, but let's put the reality out on the table.
Right.
There was vehicles flipping over on top of their tops, rolling over and catching on fires because these professional drivers from around the country are racing this, and then here we are, and Chris is going, You're good, man. Find your line. You got this. Okay, and then calling out the hazards and being my co-dog, and I'm half looking at him. I'm thinking, man, you're freaking nuts. Like, these things are flipping all over and catching fire, and I'm like, man, I'm about ready to descent this thing.
Right.
I don't even know if I'm stepping on the gas or the brake.
Oh, wow. Wow, this brings me to question number 2, because one of it was the commentators who were saying that in your past, you formerly raced, right? So the question is, what was the feeling or the initial feeling the moment you were racing again? Because you're not a stranger to the track, but what was that feeling?
So when we were first suited up and everything, it was, you could pretty much ask anybody. I was like a fish to water. Like, I don't think you could tell I was nervous. I was very more professional than anybody has ever seen me. I think that shocked them more than anything of how my level of professionality went up and the goofball kind of faded.
Right.
That probably shocked everyone. When you say, Michael, I think that probably shocked everybody, but I'm doing a job. So when I put the helmet on in the first go, I'm racing. When you're racing a race car, you're trying to pass the people in front of you. Your object is to win. In this, once we hit the first obstacles and started climbing, we didn't know what the course was. We're doing it for the first time. It's downloaded into a computer screen that Chris is watching, and he's telling me where to go.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know. And by the time the third lap, I knew, but I still didn't know. He still had to call a hazard. So it wasn't like I'm going out on a racetrack and testing for 3-4 hot lap sessions, 10, 12 laps apiece. No, it was not like that at all. So my race car person was, go. I'm not going fast enough. I gotta go. Chris, where am I going? And my pace was rather miserable. It was not comfortable. It wasn't fun. When we actually hit some of the downhills, the rock climber kind of took over, and I was able to really shine in those spots. But it wasn't like the racing whatsoever. Like, the only thing the same in the rock, and I'm sure the level, the 4,500 cars with the 40-inch tires that are ripping, and they're concentrating on making passes and stuff like that. But the feeling was completely different than any of my racing experience. I just wanted to survive. I wanted to survive. So racing is very selfish. Racing is very selfish. When you were racing stock cars, it was never about anybody else. If I had a good race, my crew should have been thankful that they're there to share that with me. If I had a bad race, I'm the only one that had a bad race, and my crew better be ready to make me feel better. It was all about the drivers. And it still is for all levels of NASCAR. This was all about coming out of those trees, and the world disappearing was the same. When you put your helmet on, the world disappears, but this time, different from all the other times, the world disappeared for all of us. You weren't even there, and the world disappeared for you. And it wasn't about nothing except the team, everyone, and And when I came out of the pits, I think everybody just from the top of your head all the way to your toes was just a sheer feeling of delight and excitement that we made it. We popped out, and the crew, they didn't know they had to watch the Jumbotron. They had to watch the same thing you watched. So we're going, and I was on the day, and I'm Chris. I'm like, Chris, I just want to see the crew, man. I just want to see the crew. And he's like, don't worry, we're pitting. No matter what, we're definitely gonna pit. And then we come out of the trees, and it was like, it was all those feelings for everybody. There wasn't one, it wasn't one person in our pit that didn't. That was the difference. It wasn't about me. It was, and that faded on its own. Like nobody had to tell me that. It was just like survival.
So this is what leads me to my third question. Like, you're in the race. The communication has to be key. It has to be key. You and your partner in it. Was there any moment that you felt personally like you were not going to get through this?
No, actually, probably the only feeling that I was not going to get through this was probably when we started the race. And Chris and I, we started the race kind of misfiring. So everything was good. Everything's good. We all felt positive. Everything's good. So I started the race, and we went up the first hill climb. Well, there was a problem with the car that was a mistake in the pits. No individual is to blame. Everybody is going to check this out. I guarantee you at the next race. But basically, one of the hubs wasn't locked all the way. So I started ripping up the hill, and I had no traction. My tires weren't turning. So Chris is like, I'm jumping out and I'm getting the winch. Stop. I'm like, screw the winch. Why is my traction control lights going off? Like, my traction control lights going, that means my tires are spinning at different speeds. If I'm in four high, we raced in 4 light the whole race. We had it dialed. Why is my traction going? I have one tire not spinning. We're broke already. We're done. We didn't even make it 500 yards. We're done. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, where's the train? And winch is like, and Chris is like, I'm getting out. I'm winching this up. I'm like, screw the winch, dude. Why are my traction control lights going off? And Chris goes, I don't give a shit about your traction control lights. My job is to get you up to the top of this hill. I'm pulling a winch. So he went to pull the winch, and he's pulling winch, and I'm trying, and he's winching me, and he's like winching, we're winching. Just, it was very, man, it was in the heat. We got freaking 10 hundredths of a second left to shoot that 3-pointer to win the national championship. That was the feeling. I'm like, why is that traction control light? Why is that traction control light? And I'm like, Chris, the hubs, check the hubs. And he goes, dude, they're unlocked. So he locked the driver's hub was unlocked. He checked the other side, it was locked. And so he unhooked the winch. He's like, wheel it in. I'm like, I'll meet you at the top of the hill. Am I unhooked? He's like, you unhooked. I freaking left. And I went up like, it was like traction. I got to the top of the hill, and I started pulling in the winch. Chris got in, and by this time he had to climb the hill by foot with his helmet and everything on. He was whooped. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, I loosen my safety belts up, and I'm trying to help him strap in, and I got the air tube and stuck it in his helmet. Because the helmet, the air tube, you would think it's for the dust. Bull crap, it's air conditioning. It was so hot, like just hooking that tube in was like, if you're scuba diving and you're out of air and somebody gives you their air, that's what it was like plugging that tube in. It was so hot, and I said, I gotta get him cooled down, and I stuck that. I'm like pushed because we could talk like this in our helmets. We had communications, so I'm like pushed towards me. He's like, what? I'm like, I'm the tube pushed towards me, and so we had it down by the end of the race. I'm like push. We had it, but as soon as I put that in there, I'm like, you got your lap straps before I could go. Yeah, I got it. So I go, and then everything was good. Everything was really good, but that moment was defeat. And Chris was doing one thing. That's the only time in the whole race that we didn't fight or argue, but I knew, because I'm a mechanic, I know the car, and Chris goes, I don't give a shit. My job is to get you up to the top of this hill. And he went out there and started, oh yeah, that was, when I tell the story, it was more bonding than it was then, because we were on completely different pages. And that's why I chose Chris. Because I knew.
Let's get to my fourth. Get to my fourth question. Get to my fourth question right here. It's good. This is good. All right. So, Chris Magro, El Presidente, El Presidente. So
that was intense.
Your right hand, literally, your right hand, sitting on your right side. What is something that you want to tell Chris Magro?
One, I'm going to tell anybody that's interested and is watching this. I'm going to tell you because he already knows. Like there's nothing I could say that we didn't discuss. It was that deal. And so we're racing, and like I said, I'm completely different. I didn't say 30 words the whole race. Like I'm doing my thing. I'm focused, and we're going in some particular deal where he was getting me through a chicane, downhill. We chose the more difficult line on this particular situation, just because there was a couple tree branches that we just didn't like. And I'm like, and I just like, so it was more difficult, took a little longer, but the chances for flattening a tire or having a problem was much. So we agreed on that deal, and we're coming down, and Chris is like, hey, am I doing, because I don't talk. And he's like, hey, am I doing okay? I'm like, dude, don't shut up. You're answering all my questions. That's good. That's it. I'm like, don't stop talking. You're answering all my questions without me saying anything. Yeah, and right there at that moment was probably a switch in our driving to where he had no more questions. He had no more questions, and he answered all my questions. So that was probably the switch to where he just kept talking. And if he stopped talking, I'm like, where are you at, dude? Where am I at? Where are we at? And he would pick it back up, because he was gassing. He was almost ready to puke at one point in time. And I'm just like, where are you at? Where are you at? And he's like, I'm here, man. I'm just trying to catch my breath. And I'm like, all right, man, just make sure we're on course. And actually, I didn't even talk that much. I'm like, where are you at? I didn't feel compassion. I didn't feel compassion at all. I'm like, where are you at? Where are you at? Keep talking. Where are you at? Yeah. So, but yeah, that moment was, I think I think before this goes on, before Chris sees this, I think you need to interview him without me there. What? I think because if, like, I mean, that would be awesome if that was the same moment that he had, or I'm curious of the moments that he had that I'm like, oh yeah, that was fucking super strong. But yeah, can we do that, guys?
Yeah, we're gonna try to do that. So before this one airs, we will have already interviewed Chris.
Yeah.
And then this one will come out, and then they'll put his out.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I would like to hear Chris's point of view without him hearing mine, because he might change his idea, or I might lead his questions or lead his answers. But yeah, so that is my answer to that. Is when I told him, I'm like, you are answering all my questions.
Leads me to question number 5. I got question number 5 and a bonus. Okay, question number 5 and a bonus, because I just thought about this. So, question number 5 is this. You had a lot of supporters, man. You had a whole team that was there.
Yeah.
Man, like, what do you want to say to, like, everyone that supported you? Like, what thanks, gratitude? You don't have to name call, but just
there's so many. Yeah, there's so many. But and so many people that bought these shirts.
Right.
It's amazing. And
what does it mean to you, that support, that love? God.
Well, I mean, it's the air in the tires, it's the gas in the tank.
Right.
It wouldn't happen, I mean, John Moody, our guy right here, John Moody, the dentist. Let's see those fingers, John.
See those fingers.
He 100% could have snipped this thing in the bud. He could have done that. He knows it. I know it. But he trusted, and I got our business in a little bit of a little deal.
Right.
But and I'm gonna work hard and get us out of it. But yeah, John, he deserves an amazing amount of I can't even. That's that. I mean, he didn't stop it. He did stop it.
I got you.
He didn't stop it.
He believed.
Yeah, like he might as well have been freaking crazier than Chris. Like he did not stop it, and he's not dumb.
Man, I think that most definitely, it speaks of the love. It speaks of the support. It speaks of people who are willing to sacrifice, and I think that
lots of sacrifice.
Your story and your journey, just in who you are in the shirt, and dude, you're a real inspiration. I'm gonna tell you that. Like, let me get vulnerable for a moment. Like, you're a real inspiration, man. Like, to a lot of people. So, I most definitely, as a friend, it's a proud moment, man. And I want to speak into your life, man. Like, cause you're the type of dude that you envision something and you go after it. You go after it, and that's what I love about you. And I love the fact that your story most definitely speaks about Lucas just bought it, man, for real. He just bought it.
It's the most brightest thing he's said in months.
All right. So, like, he said, yeah, man, proud friend moment. I was down at Ocean Lakes, and when I tuned in, man, I like just the vibes. I could feel the vibes of just everything that was going into it, man. So,
and that your story and your inspiration and the way you help people that's why this team thrives. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their own individual things within the team that we strive and we accomplish. That motivates me to do whatever we got to do.
My half question, my bonus question, and I'm done. Bonus question, man. You're like #1 ace boom coon, like little mini you was there, man.
Oh, little DJ,
man, was there.
Yeah.
What did it mean for you, like, that he was getting to capture that experience with you and celebrate with you?
Yeah, that was some unspoken moments, like. Yeah. He's a good road trip partner.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And I could tell he gets so nervous.
Right.
He gets so nervous. He can't talk.
Right.
You know, he gets so choked up.
Right.
And doesn't know what to say. He's kind of like a doofus.
Good stuff, man.
He kind of turns into a doofy. You know?
Yeah.
I love it. Like everybody. Everybody changes in those moments.
Right.
I changed drastically.
Right.
My son, he was worried from that movie Ford versus Ferrari.
Right.
When the car blew up, and the son was dad. Like my son was very aware of the fact that something bad could happen.
Yeah.
He's a kid. That's what he thought. He didn't understand the success or the rewards or the deal. You know, everybody changed. Michael.
Right.
He is kind of quiet and standoffish.
Right.
Man, there's some times where they put the camera in his face, and he was very composed and very straightforward, and he was getting the job done.
Right.
He turned emotions off, and he goes, "This is what we got to do.
Right.
This is the job. This is the focus." And everybody, yeah. So my son, everybody, it was
Yo, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This most definitely was a special podcast, man. We are doing great things here. You can see, you know, we're making dreams happen. Whatever is out there, there's a challenge. Like, we are in it together, and we want you to be in it with us, man. Only thing I can say is, if you ain't partying with us, you ain't partying. So we want you to get involved. All right?
And you can win your own battles with the tools that you have, the people that you know. You just have to apply those tools, and you can win any uphill battle you're fighting right now. You have the tools.
You have the tools, man. And as Will said, make sure you click on the link below and get you, if you haven't already, get you one of those stacked off-road t-shirts.
Team Stacked Racing.
Team Stacked Racing. Yes. Get you one of. It doesn't even matter if you already got one. Get you a second one. You've heard it here. This is one of the major ways that you can support an awesome team, awesome family, and an awesome dude. So
I'm excited about the Chris Magro interview without me. And I want to watch it for the first time too. So.
And get ready, because the racing is not over. It just began.
It's not over.
So we are on our way.
Like, subscribe.
Yes.